Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand here today, like so many of my colleagues, before this historic and important vote, saddened and sickened by the devastatingly tragic events that occurred at Sandy Hook School. I also stand here today as a father of 3 young children, as a proud resident and representative of the great city of New Haven, a city where, despite the relative safety of my neighborhood, where I live, in the district I represent, we've seen scores of young boys and girls shot down in the city over the last 13 years that I've lived there. Gun violence in our state is not new, and it is far too common. It's not something that those of us from urban communities are unfamiliar with. Sadly, I've had to speak with the parents of young children who've been victims of gun violence in my community. And it's something we hear about and see on a weekly basis in some of our cities. While I truly respect the constitutional guarantees that the Second Amendment provides, and that the Heller versus D.C. Supreme Court decision has clarified, I recognize within each text that we, as legislators, must determine and regulate the appropriate level of self-defense that an individual is guaranteed. It is clear that this is our responsibility and it is our charge. And in each text, it is explicitly entrusted to us to determine. So I do stand here today proud of the steps that we are taking as a state. And I've heard from constituents in my district, many in fact, who are upset with the vote that I will cast this evening. Constituents who believe that the vote we cast tonight will violate both the United States and Connecticut constitutions. And I've read both the Heller decision and the Miller decision numerous times over the last few months. And I feel confident that we, as a legislative body, are well within our rights to pass the following regulations. And I believe these will make the residents of the state safer while protecting the basic liberties that our residents are guaranteed. We will pass a bill that smartly bans the sale or purchase of large capacity magazines. We will impose extremely stringent regulations on the use of those currently possessed. We will expand our assault weapons ban to stop the future sale of all weapons of war that really have no place in our homes or on our streets. In my city, though, in cities across the state, we don't often see violence with those assault weapons. So we do begin to look smartly at other things we need to do to reduce the gun violence we see. We will start to require universal background checks for the sale of all firearms. And we will establish the first in the nation statewide dangerous weapon offender registry. Now, this is something police chiefs have been pushing for years. And I'm proud that we're doing that as part of this bill. This is vital to their efforts in stopping future crimes and identifying the most likely suspects quickly after a shooting occurs. We'll do the new state-issued eligibility certificates for the purchase of any rifle or shotguns, do the background checks on ammunition. These are all smart things. And I'm proud to be here taking these preliminary steps. Gun storage laws, ensuring that thefts from homes, the sad case of too many suicides, too many domestic disputes, too many accidental shootings that impact our communities. Again, smart choices that we are making as a state, smart steps that we're beginning to take. Now, we recognize that we can go further in reducing gun violence if we increase our support for mental health services and ensure our communities where everyone in Connecticut has access to the care that they or a family member might need. We focus on helping those individuals and their families overcome obstacles to accessing the mental health treatment and support they need. We improve the mental health first aid training. We improve the coordination of services with people with persistent mental illness. We establish the pilot program to help secure care and coordination for children and caregivers. These investments, the investments in school security improvements as well, will provide a safer and more secure environment for the children while helping to ensure that they receive the care they need. In closing, though, I think there are still more common sense regulations that should be enacted. And I tell you, I will be pushing for those in the coming years ahead. And while I fear that the lack of a national strategy on preventing gun violence will surely mean that thousands more senseless deaths will occur due to gun violence, Many of those deaths will be in my city of New Haven. I am proud to be here today, to be in this room with all of you, to take these first steps towards a smart and comprehensive strategy to remove guns from our streets, to prevent senseless deaths in our communities, to set the stage, due to our leadership, for a broader, national, bipartisan approach to reducing gun violence across our country. And I look forward to working with many of you to address some of the shortcomings that this bill currently contains and to take further steps in the months and years ahead to ensure that all gun violence is eradicated from our streets. Thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Minority Leader. And thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir.